but it was really, really a good story. But uh, Joni, could you introduce yourself again, particularly for Tim's sake? I refer to you as a human resource person, and I'll leave it with you.
Okay, well, I am Dr. Joanny Liu, and my doctorate is from being a registered acupuncturist and traditional Chinese medicine doctor. My background is actually engineering. I was a professional engineer for 24 years. I graduated from Concordia University back in 1979. So I've had a pretty long life up to this point, lots of life experience. And the reason why I left my engineering career was because of a health shock that I had, and it was a cancer scare. Now it didn't amount to anything, but it was all the things that led up to that point. Had to really sit down and think through what I really wanted to do with my life. At that point, it was pretty much about being a good little girl in corporate life, and it was killing me. And one of the other things was is that, if you're a people pleaser, but you're resentful of being a people pleaser because you know it's not the right thing to do, then the stress of it all really starts getting to you. So for me, I chose Chinese medicine simply because it would allow me to be as diverse as I want it to be. So I was already an amateur expert at diet and fitness. And with Chinese medicine, it was really about finding the root cause of all the problems that people have. So I am philosophically and practically very adverse to helping people manage their problems. I want to know exactly, I want to understand the person. I want to listen to that person and read in between the lines and ask a lot of questions because it's never enough to just write out prescription or even to prescribe surgery because you're never really getting rid of a problem that way. So, because of my background in engineering, it is about understanding and it is about problem solving and it is about delivering the results that a client wants from me. So again, I'm adverse to simply managing a problem. It's about actually resolving it. So my mindset is simply give the client whatever it is that they want. So oftentimes I've found that self-confidence is a big issue. Um, a lot of people have been hurt during their childhood. I mean, it could be as simple as something that was said off the cuff by a parent or a coach or a teacher, and it stayed with them for all these years. So we managed to dig up information like that, and then we move forward from there. So we never talk about it again because I'm only dealing with the present and with what people want in the future. So today, I am I am very interested in helping athletes to stay in the game. In particular, I know that the average lifetime career of a professional athlete is 1.5 to 3 years. So it's pretty short, especially in context to the fact that many of them have been thinking about, dreaming about a pro athlete career since they were at 2 years old, 3 years old, 4 years old. So they've already spent most of their life dedicated to something that they love, and then all of a sudden for it to disappear, as it often does, and they're never heard from ever again. So my approach is to help build up that self-trust that they need to understand that inner truth about themselves, to understand, to bring out that inner person that has been crying and feeling so much conflict because so often they feel they do not deserve to be where they are, even though they have worked so hard to get there. So this, I guess, is what I do. Thank you very much. Can't hear you. Can't hear you. Are you on mute?
When I listened to the Pedrita Feliciana, I mentioned it. I noticed you're nodding your head, Joanny. Have you had anything to do with her, or have you heard her story?
Oh, I've definitely heard her story. Yeah, I followed
Yeah,
Olympic athletes, professional athletes in hockey, soccer, football. So, yeah, I know a lot about her story.
yeah. But like I thought of you. I didn't think of you until now, related connecting to her. But first generation Canadian, what her mother went through coming to Canada and then becoming an athlete, and what her inner drive was, just still amazes me. And I'm really intrigued by that more now than ever talking to you. I've got a question. You mentioned 1.5 to 3 years, and we've got people that are on. Dominic has just left his station. Morris Lukovic has been on. Tim Bothwell played in the NHL. Many players have played in other leagues. Uh, I was one of those players who made a good choice, and I'd really only played one season of what you might call professional paid hockey. But I find, Tim, how many years did you play? Morris, how many years did you play? I find that, like, is that a NHL number? And
No, that no,
Dominic
actually
as well.
that
Okay.
1.5 years is actually football. That's North American football.
Okay.
It's about 3 years for a hockey player. It's a little bit longer for a baseball player, but it's on average 1.5 to 3.
So you're talking an NFL player,
NFL, yeah, well, even CFL. You can
CFL
be,
as well.
yeah, I mean, you can be a star one year. Yeah, Nick Lewis was telling me, formerly of the Stampeders, he was telling me that there was a really great, and I don't even remember this guy. He actually won uh, defensive lineman of the year one year in his rookie year, and he came back, after receiving all these accolades, and he just didn't do well in training camp, and he disappeared, and he never came back. He was never picked up by another team. 1.5 years is what Nick Lewis would say for the NFL right now.
Okay, but I believe he came. I'm not sure. I don't recall 100%. I'm not sure if he was a receiver or not,
Yeah,
but he had a fairly long career
he had a lot.
In the
Yeah,
CFL.
yeah.
So that term in the NFL, and then he went to the CFL. The passion for playing the sport, it's almost like the inner child wanting to spend his life playing his game. And I think we're to some degree vicariously playing the sport that way with our lives, even at our ages. But that number, it's really interesting. You stay with the game, and it's interesting to hear your side of the story. Do any of you have any questions that you might ask Joni about this? Because everybody on board has coached, has played, and everybody that ever played is going to spend a lifetime doing something for a living after they played a sport. So, any questions at all there? Matt, you can think of your females. Morris, your long career and what you're still trying to do to share your expertise and influence in your business. And Tim, still coaching. Dominic, going to a girls program where everybody on board is finding life satisfaction in what they're doing, I believe. So, Joni, have you got anything to offer related to that? Or Morris, go ahead.
Yeah, I do.
Hi,
Dr. Lou
Morris.
have had a coffee together, and I think what she does can be amazing for athletes. And something that I liked about our conversation is that she has the courage to ask the tough questions that are in order to really help the player get to where they've got to go in order to be better. And so she isn't, but she isn't, from what I saw, she isn't and isn't a pioneer in this. I mean, yet she, because it's been around for a little bit now, yet she is, like Dr. Lou, you are determined, you have an expertise, and I believe she would be a very good value add to any professional team. Huge.
Thank you.
Or to,
That means a lot to me, Morris.
yeah,
because
Dr.
I
Lou,
know.
I believe a good phone call would be, can I suggest one? Dr. Lou?
Pardon? What was the question?
Suggest a phone call to make?
Suggest a phone call?
Yeah, for you to make.
Oh, you mean you have a suggestion for me? I guess I
Yes.
don't understand.
What I'm saying is that, like, Winnipeg has a player, Dubois. He has got himself tied up in a knot. The Jets traded away a very, very good player, actually two good players to get him.
Oh.
And he came to the Jets and he has done almost nothing. Former first round pick who has got himself tied in a knot. And the only thing I think that the Jets can hope is that somehow time away from the rink is going to help him. And then he's going to come back a new guy and be the Superman that they want him to be. But my gosh, in playoffs, like, he went 25 games without a goal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, so.
Does anyone here able to introduce me to this young man?
I think Morris, you could connect her with Winnipeg anyway, right?
Well, my contacts with the Jets are kind of gone. But there's a number of players around the league who are just simply not performing. I mean, in Calgary, Johnny Gaudreau.
Yeah.
Yeah, right now. I mean, Johnny got. I mean, it will be interesting to see if he's in the team.
Tom, Wally, Tom's got his hand up too, or he had his hand up. Tom,
Hey,
go ahead.
nice to see you, Dr. Lou.
I see you too, Morris.
Yeah, I got just an example. As my daughter's going out with a former TFL player.
We're getting some echo.
Have you got your phone on too, Tom? You're echoing.
I don't know why it's echoing. Is it still echoing?
No, it sounds good now. Go ahead.
Yeah, she's going out with this guy, and he's kind of lost. And he's an American. He was a lineman with the Stampeders. And one day he came to practice, and I think he had a note or something just saying, "You're cut." And he said the hard thing is he grew up in some small town in Texas or something. And of course, the football players are the stars. And then he went to a major university, the Stars. And he got a degree, I think it's in sociology or something. And then, he's playing pro and that happens to him. And he's totally lost. He hasn't done anything for about a year and is kind of just depressed because his whole life, that was his identity, as
Yeah.
being a football player. And now I don't think he knows who he is.
Yeah.
So that's an example that I think a lot of guys go through when their career ends.
Yeah. And it doesn't seem to matter how long they've played. I think Nick Lewis, he already had businesses going and this sort of thing, while he was playing. So it wasn't, which, in a lot of cases with the CFL, you're really paid like a white collar worker. Most people aren't making a heck of a lot of money. So you've got to figure out what to do for the rest of the year. And so Nick definitely had his fingers into some businesses while he was still playing. So for him to transition wasn't too rough for him, but I don't know who this CFL defensive lineman is. I guess he was with the Calgary Stampeders, but if he hadn't been multi-dimensional like we all are, then it is very tough for them to transition out of the sport thinking that they are a pro athlete and this is the way it's going to be. They expect to be there at least, I don't know, maybe 10 years. I mean, Nick Lewis had a fabulous career. He was actually never drafted by the NFL. Was very disappointed, but it was his mom that turned him around. And he just stayed with the game until he got to the Calgary Stampeders and became a huge success. So his story is very different from most. And it does take, from the players that I've spoken to, it does take them many years to adjust and finally transition out of being an athlete and into something else. But that longing, I think, stays for a very, very long time, maybe for the rest of their lives.